First thing is a clear goal. Obviously, at the Olympia, you know, there's nothing more clear than a fucking goal. October 14th, 2024, competing at the Olympia in Las Vegas. Like, that's the goal. I gotta win the Olympia. You can find it online, but it's called SMART goals. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, and time-based. So specific, you need a very specific goal, not just like, I want to be strong. It's like, how strong do you want to be? At what date do you want to be strong? What lifts? Do you want to be explosive strong? Do you want to be like power lifter strong? What are your specific goals? Measurable, obviously be able to measure it. Attainable, has to be possible. Relatable, has to be authentic to yourself, something you care about. Time-based, there has to be a time base on it. And I think the biggest thing that people always come to me and ask me when I'm doing like meet and greets and they ask me, it's always like, how do I start? What do I do? How do I start? I have all these things, X, Y, and Z, and you can watch a million YouTube videos, read a million books, and sometimes you get like overwhelmed by the amount of steps that are out there. And I mean, nothing matters unless you actually do it. So taking action is the most important and hardest part. You know, I've always had this mindset that you are not what you think, you're not who you think you are, you just simply are what you repeatedly do. So you can think positive things, you can think, this is huge in relationships, you know, like I could tell my wife, I think you're beautiful, I think I love you, I just don't say it. Well, she's not gonna know and feel it unless I show her with my actions. And it's the same in anything in life. So taking action is the most crucial point of everything. And I think what people fuck up is they get overwhelmed with too many steps and things to do. So this is gonna be the most basic tip, but the most important one, if you take anything away from this, build an identity and start fucking small to build momentum. For example, when I used to be in college, I used to drink 3 times a week, get like blackout drunk, go out with my friends, and I loved it. You know, I loved the social life. I was in college hanging out with people. It was the only time in my life I had to be able to live like that, and I was aware of that. So I didn't want to sacrifice that. So I did that for a period of time, but then I wanted to take bodybuilding more seriously. I was on the edge of going pro, and I knew I had a lot of potential in me, but I knew my lifestyle was holding me back. But I also wasn't ready to sacrifice my social life yet. So instead of just telling myself, all right, I'm gonna stop drinking, stop going out, go to bed at 9 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m., do my cardio, never miss a meal, do all these things, I was like, I'm eating pretty good, still cheating a lot because I like going out with my friends, and I love going out at night, but I'm gonna stop drinking. So I still stayed out until 2 a.m. every night, but I made one small change, and that was to stop drinking. And just that alone, waking up not hungover and not wanting to eat bacon and fucking God knows what else for breakfast because you're hungover and tired and lazy, having a bad workout, horrible recovery from the alcohol throwing up your system, I was able to make a decent amount of progress from that alone. And the momentum I built from that one small change encouraged me to want to make more changes. And eventually, I stopped going out completely, started to go to bed early. I started to clean up my diet, and I started to make all these little changes that eventually, that literal year was the year that I turned pro, won 2 pro shows, and made it to the Olympia just from making these subtle changes. And it was huge. And the one change I made this cascade effect into everything in my life. All right, so the next little tip amongst all these are kind of the actionable steps. But the other thing that I realized I did without knowing it is self-talk and like personal accountability. I tie these in together because how you talk to yourself, sometimes how you hold yourself accountable. But personal accountability means you're responsible for your own life, which means you are in power. You have the power to control and change your life. So personal accountability equals power. Power is the ability to do whatever the fuck you want in your life. So no one else wants you to fucking hit your goals like you do. No one cares what you do beyond yourself. So make sure you're holding yourself accountable. You're not waiting for someone else to encourage you. You're waiting for someone else to go to the gym, do this or that. You really have to hold yourself accountable. You know, within the self-talk piece, a little thing that this is how I label it now, but I wasn't intentionally doing it in purpose in the time. But I always talk to myself in my head like I was a mentor talking to my apprentice. You know, there's always like your thoughts in your mind, and then there's the thinker of the thoughts. You know, there's two kind of, when you're talking to yourself in your head, there's someone talking and then there's someone paying attention. So there's kind of two like dualistic identities inside your brain at any given time. And I viewed it as like a mentor who was the retired 6-time Mr. Olympia talking to the amateur, the apprentice who wanted to become that and was embodying that and working towards that. So when I would talk to myself like, come on champ, come on, you want to be Mr. Olympia? Like, let's get after it. It was like my future Mr. Olympia self talking to myself. And when I would be on a treadmill, I'd be supposed to do 30 minutes, 25 minutes goes by, I'm like ADD, bored, tired, want to go eat breakfast, deep in prep, whatever, and I'd get off and talk to myself like, come on, champ. Like, is that what Mr. Olympia does? Is Mr. Olympia to get off 5 minutes before his cardio's done? I'd be like, fuck, and I would drag myself back on, finish my cardio, and actually do it right. The thing was, you know, a set. If I'm aiming for 10, I get 8, and I just put the weights down, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you could have gotten 10. Maybe I take 5 minutes, do another set that I'm not even supposed to do to hit that 10, just to hold myself accountable. Or I get right back on and do 2 more, 3 more reps, just to make sure I'm hitting that 10 that I was supposed to. But holding yourself accountable and having the proper self-talk is important. And I don't think this comes from shame. I don't think shaming yourself, calling yourself a piece of shit, like you fat fuck, get after it, all these things, I don't personally believe that works at all. I think if you call yourself a fat fuck and you begin to identify as a fat fuck, you will continue to act like a fat fuck. I truly believe that everything I just listed of building an identity, a habits, the self-accountability, the positive self-talk, those are the only ways to properly sustain things. Obviously within that, you know, the goal of everything I'm talking about, I'm trying to focus more on like mental things and the mental side of things. And even in the behavior, something I didn't mention. If I was like, Mr. Olympia is someone who always has their head on right. What does someone who has their head on right do? You know, they self-reflect, they journal, they go to therapy, they talk about their emotions and their feelings, they let things out, they don't hold it all in. And these were all part of the identity that I began to build to create a mindset that could do anything rather than just trying to accomplish one thing. And I think that was the most important thing that I kind of naturally built. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But essentially, clear outcome, clear goal, Google SMART goals. I don't need to do that. Consistent identity. Define what that identity is. Start small, build momentum, and just fucking create an identity. Be someone who X, and define that very specifically. Not, I want to be jacked. I want to be someone who, and what are the attributes that you would view as someone who is jacked? I use that as an example, obviously, because it's easy for me to use. Self-talk, being positive, personal accountability, it all comes down to yourself. You know, I don't need to repeat myself. It is what it is.
Wow. That's all I can say. He looks even better tonight, AJ.
He's better tonight, Dom?
He is. He's full of stuff.
Look at the glue from the side.
Beautiful. He shocked everyone tonight, AJ.
Who'd have crazy side chest.
Who'd have thought a classic guy could come in and be so dominating and be so impressive in an open class?
Lower back is in.
Look at the lat spread. We never got to see this in the classic. Oh.